So hello guys, Bhushan here. So today we'll be going to experience a very beautiful part from Steve's biography, and where he has expressed his own thought in the part named as "And One More Thing." So here it is. My passion has been to build an enduring company where people were motivated to make great products. Everything else was secondary. Sure, it was great to make profit because that what allowed you to make products, a great products, but the products, not the profits, were the motivation. Scully flipped these priorities to where the goal was to make money. It's subtle difference, but it ends up meaning everything. The people who hire, who gets the promoted, and what you discuss in the meeting. Some people say give customer what they want, but that's not my approach. Our job is to figure out what they're going to want before they do. I think Henry Ford once said, if I would ask customer what they wanted, they would have told me a faster horse. People don't know what they want until you show it to them. That's why I never rely on market research. Our task is to read things that are not yet on the page. Edwin Land of Polaroid talked about the intersection of humanities and science. I like that intersection. There is something magical about that place. There are a lot of people innovating, and that's not the main distinction of my career. The reason Apple resonate with the people is that there's a deep current of humanity in our innovations. I think great artists and great engineers are similar in that they have both a desire to express themselves. In fact, some of the best people working on the original Mac were poet and musician on the side. In the 70s, computer became a way to people to express their creativity. Great artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo were also great at science. Michelangelo knew a lot about how to query stones, not just how to be a sculptor. People pay us to integrate things for them before because they don't have the time to think about this stuff 24/7. If you have an extreme passion producing great product, it pushes you to be integrated, to connect your hardware and your software and content management. You want to break new grounds, so you have to do it yourself. If you want to allow your product to be open and to other hardware and software, you have to give up some of your vision. At different times in the past, there were companies that exemplified Silicon Valley. It was Hewlett Packard for a long time. Then, in the semiconductor era, it was Fairchild and Intel. I think that it was Apple for a while, and then that faded. And then today, I think it's Apple and Google, and little more so Apple. I think Apple has stood the test of time. It's been around for a while, but it's still at the cutting edge of what's going on. It's easy to throw stones at Microsoft. They're clearly fallen from their dominance. They have become mostly irrelevant. And yet, I appreciate what they did and how it was and how hard it was. They were very good at the business side of things. They were never as ambitious product wise as they should have been. Bill likely to portray himself as a man of product, but he is really not. He's a business person. Winning business was more important than making great products. He ended up the wealthiest guy around, and if that was his goal, then he achieved it. But it's never been my goal, and I wonder, in the end, if it is was his goal. I admire him for the company he built. It's impressive. And I enjoyed working with him. He's bright and actually has a good sense of humor. But Microsoft never had the humanities and the liberal art in its DNA. Even when they saw the Mac, they couldn't copy it well. They totally didn't get it. I have my own theory about why decline happened at companies like IBM or Microsoft. The company does a great job, innovate, and becomes a monopoly or close to it in some field. And then the quality of the product becomes less important. Companies start valuing the great salesman because they are the one who can move the needle of revenues, not the product engineer and designers. So the salespeople end up running the company. John Akers at IBM was smart, eloquent, fantastic salesperson, but he didn't know anything about the product. The same thing happened at Xerox. When the sales guy in the company, the product guy don't matter so much. And a lot of them just turn off. It happened at Apple when Scully came in, which was my fault. And it happened when Ballmer took over at Microsoft. Apple was lucky and it rebounded. But I don't think anything will change at Microsoft as long as Ballmer is running it. I hate it when people call themselves entrepreneurs when what they're really trying to do is launch a startup and then sell or go public so that they can cash in and move on. They're unwilling to do the work it takes to build a real company, which is the hardest work in business. That's how you really make contribution and add to legacy of those who went before. You build a company that will still stand for something a generation or two from now. That's what Walt Disney did and Hewlett Packard and the people who built Intel. They created a company to last. They create a company to last, not just to make money. That's what I want Apple to be. I don't think I run roughshod or people, or if something sucks, I tell people to their face. It's my job to be honest. I know what I'm talking about and usually turn out to be right. That's the culture I try to create. We are brutally honest with each other, and anyone can tell me they think I am full of shit, and I can tell them the same. And we have had some rip roaring arguments where we are yelling at each other, and some of the best time I've ever had. I feel totally comfortable saying, Ron, that store looked like shit in front of everyone else, and I might say, God, we really fucked the engineer on this shit. God, we are really fucked up the engineering in this shit. In front of a person that's responsible, that's a and we for being in the room, you've got to be able to super honest. You got to be able to be super honest. Maybe that's a better way. A gentleman's club. Maybe there's a better way. A gentleman's club where we all wear ties and speak in Brahmin language and velvet code words, but I don't know that way because I'm middle class from California. I was hard on people sometimes, probably harder than I needed to be. I remember the times when Reed was 6 years old coming home and I just fired somebody that day, and I imagined what it was like for that person to tell his family and his young son that he has lost a job. It was hard, but somebody's got to do it. I figured that if was some always my job to make sure that the team was excellent, and if I didn't do it, nobody was going to do it. You always have to keep pushing to innovate. Dylan could have sung the protest song forever and probably made a lot of money, but he didn't. He had to move on, and when he did, by going electric in 1965, he alienated a lot of people. His 1966 Europe tour was his greatest. He would come on and do a set of acoustic guitars, and the audience loved him. Then he brought out what became the band, and they would all do an electric set, and the audience sometimes booed. There was one point where he was about to sing like a Rolling Stone, and someone from the audience yells Judas. And Dylan then says, play it fucking loud. And they did. The Beatles were same way. They kept evolving, moving, refining their art. That's what I've tried to do, always. Keep moving, otherwise, as Dylan says, if you're not busy being born, you're busy being dying. If you're not busy being born, you're busy dying. What drove me? I think most creative people want to express appreciation for being able to take advantage of the work that's been done by others before us. I didn't invent the language or mathematics I use. I make little of my own food, none of my own clothes. Everything I do depends on other member of our species and the shoulder that we stand on. And a lot of us want to contribute something back to our species and to add something to the flow. It's about trying to express something in the only way that the most of us know how. Because we can't write Bob Dylan songs or Tom Stoppard's plays, we try to use the talent we do have to express our deep feeling, to show our appreciation of all the contributions that came before us, and to add something to that flow. That what has driven me. So this is Steve, and this is his important thought for all the entrepreneurs in the future. So I hope you have liked it. Let me know. Thanks.